Okay, welcome to this base course into the introduction of WaverAD signal generator. My name is KE-System and I am the CEO of KE-System who are making the WaverAD. WaverAD is a low-cost but yet high-featured signal generator, especially designed for the use in small electronic labs or hobbyists' use. WaverAD is a combination of a USB hardware and a PC software interface, and it can generate arbitrary analog, digital, or even mixed signal waveforms. You can find the full range of documentation as well as our online shop at www.ke-system.de. Well, now let's get started into this base course showing you the very general features of WaverAD. I start the PC software. In the upper area you can see the signal display area showing you a graphical view of the signals that are currently active. As there are currently no active signals as they have to be loaded first, obviously the signal display area is yet empty. In the bottom area are some tools to modify the signal output, like for example frequency and amplitude adjust. Up here is the program menu and the console controlling the signal run. To get started, let's connect the WaverAD hardware to the PC using the USB cable. Down here you will see how the hardware connects once it is being done. Okay, now the hardware is ready and connected. Now let's load a project. One signal of the project is this complex sine wave with an 8-bit digital signal in parallel to it. There is a second waveform in this project here on page 2, which is on the analog area a sawtooth wave, also with a dedicated digital waveform on the second channel. In total there are 8 pages in WaverAD, each of which can contain such 2 signals. Now let's load a third waveform to the third page. Let's take this triangle wave here. For this signal I leave the second channel empty in this case because there's no use for it. To have the hardware being able to output these waveforms, we have to upload them to the hardware. This is done with this button. You can see the upload status down here in this display. Now what I do for visualization is to load a PC oscilloscope that displays the analog signal, hence the upper area of the signal display. Here's my oscilloscope on the right side. To visualize the digital channels, I would have to also show a logic analyzer on the screen, which would not be easily visible, because having a logic analyzer and oscilloscope and WaverAD software on the same screen, that wouldn't just make sense here in this video. So I leave the logic side out, but believe me, the second channel, the digital channel, would display very equally like the analog signal. Down here in the activation we can set which channels shall be active. We choose both in this case. The signals become colored as soon as the signal is active. Clicking on Run up here starts the signal output, as you can see on the oscilloscope side. Immediately as I click Run, the active signal on this page is shown there. While the signals are being output, we can change the pages, changing the output waveforms. for example sawtooth or triangle, as we have loaded them into the WaverAD. Let's go for the sawtooth. Of course, we can also modify the amplitude while the signal is being output. As you can see, simultaneously in the WaverAD software as well as on the oscilloscope, the amplitude of the signal changes. Same goes for the offset. While I change the offset in the WaverAD software, it changes also the offset in the oscilloscope. And of course the same is true for the frequency, which can be modified here, and as soon as I modify the frequency, you can see in the oscilloscope the changes. There are several ranges for frequencies. Let's go for this one, and immediately frequency becomes very high, as you can see here. Deactivating single channels stops the output of that channel, shown also here in the WaverAD display by decoloring the signal. As soon as I activate the signal again, it becomes output again. Now up here, clicking on pause pauses the signal output on all channels. You can see this with the white cursor, which shows you exactly the position where the signal has been paused. Clicking run again continues the signal from this point on. This icon here stops the signal output completely. Now this was the continuous run mode. The signals can also be output in a single run mode, meaning the signal will be output exactly once. To make this visible, I adjust the oscilloscope to single trigger. This will capture the single signal but show it continuously. Clicking run fires the signal exactly once and then stops. As you can see on the oscilloscope, there is exactly one triangle wave shown here. Another run mode is the step mode. That can be set down here. To make this visible, I zoom into the waveform, in this case the sawtooth. The single step mode is especially useful for digital signals. For example, using step mode, you can single step through this signal. The cursor in the signal display shows us exactly where we are. So multiple clicking on this single step shows you how the cursor is moving ahead. And also in the oscilloscope you can see how the voltage is rising with every click on the single step, just a bit following the sawtooth waveform. Now all of the shown run modes can also be used in a sequenced mode down here. That means that all pages will be sequenced one after each other. This is especially useful, for example, for large digital data streams or very low frequency analog signals that shall be generated. Let's visualize this in a continuous signal run. To do so, I have to adjust my scope. Now let's run the signal. And as you can see on the scope, all signals are now played one after each other. Here is the complex sine wave, for example, in this area, followed by the 4 sawtooth periods, which is the second page, again followed by this 1 triangle period, which is the third wave. With that, we are through with the base course. You are now able to use the basic signal generation features of WaverAD. If you are interested in more, check out the other tutorials or the user guide, all on the KE-System website. Thank you for watching this tutorial and keep waving.